Matthew chapter 24, verse 36 presents us with a fascinating question. Jesus, speaking about the end of the age, says, "But concerning that day and hour no one knows, not even the angels of heaven, nor the Son, but the Father only." Did Jesus, the Son of God, really not know the day or hour of his return? This statement often puzzles readers. How could Jesus, both fully God and fully human, not know something about the future? To understand this statement, we need to consider the context. We must delve into the cultural background of Jesus' words. We must also remember that Jesus, while divine, lived as a human being during his earthly ministry. This exploration will lead us to a deeper understanding of Jesus' words. We will come to appreciate the beautiful imagery he uses to explain the end times. We'll see that this seeming contradiction actually reveals a profound truth about the relationship between Jesus and the Father. Ultimately, it emphasizes the importance of living in a state of constant readiness for his return. To further understand this, we need to look at the nature of Jesus' mission on earth. Jesus came to fulfill the will of the Father, and part of that mission was to live as a human, experiencing the limitations and challenges that come with humanity. His ministry was marked by acts of compassion, teaching, and miracles, all of which were done in accordance with the Father's will. This submission to the Father's will is a key aspect of understanding why Jesus might not have known the exact time of the end. In the Garden of Gethsemane, we see Jesus praying fervently, asking if the cup of suffering could be taken from him, yet ultimately submitting to the Father's will. This moment highlights the depth of Jesus' humanity and his obedience to the Father. The concept of Jesus not knowing the day or hour can also be seen as a reflection of his role as the Son. In the cultural context of the time, a son would often be in a position of waiting for the Father's instructions, especially in matters of great importance. This relationship between Father and Son was one of trust and obedience. The Son would carry out the Father's will, trusting in the Father's timing and wisdom. Jesus, in his earthly ministry, often spoke about doing the will of the Father and not his own. This submission and trust in the Father's plan is a recurring theme in his teachings. When Jesus says that only the Father knows the day and hour, it underscores the intimate and trusting relationship between them. It also serves as a reminder to his followers to live in a state of readiness and trust in God's perfect timing. Living in a state of readiness means being prepared for Jesus' return at any moment. It means living a life that reflects his teachings and being vigilant in our faith. It means engaging in acts of love, compassion, and service, just as Jesus did during his time on earth. By doing so, we honor his teachings and remain prepared for his return. The mystery of the day and hour of Jesus' return is not meant to cause fear or confusion, but to encourage us to live faithfully and expectantly. It is a call to live each day with purpose, knowing that our actions and faithfulness matter in the grand scheme of God's plan. As we reflect on Jesus' words, let us embrace the profound truth that they reveal about our relationship with God and the importance of living in readiness for his return. In doing so, we find hope, purpose, and a deeper connection to the divine, trusting in the Father's perfect timing and wisdom. In Matthew chapter 24, Jesus is responding to his disciples' questions about the future. They were eager to understand what lay ahead, especially concerning the fate of the temple and the culmination of the age. Their curiosity was driven by a desire to be prepared and to comprehend the signs of the times. They were curious about the timing of the destruction of the temple in Jerusalem and the end of the age. The temple, a central place of worship and a symbol of their faith, held significant importance. The thought of its destruction was both alarming and perplexing to them. Jesus doesn't give them a specific date. Instead, he provides them with signs. He speaks of events that will unfold, offering a broader perspective rather than pinpointing an exact moment. This approach encourages a state of constant readiness and vigilance. These signs, like wars, famines, and earthquakes, are not meant to be a precise timetable. They are indicators meant to alert and awaken the faithful to the reality of the times they are living in. Each sign serves as a reminder of the transient nature of the world and the need for spiritual preparedness. Rather, they serve as warnings. They are like the early warning systems that alert us to impending danger, giving us time to take necessary actions. These signs are meant to stir the hearts and minds of believers, prompting them to reflect on their lives and their relationship with God. They are like storm clouds gathering on the horizon. Just as storm clouds signal an approaching storm, these signs indicate that significant events are on the horizon. They are a call to be spiritually alert and to seek refuge in faith. They tell us that something significant is coming. The signs are not just random occurrences, but are interconnected events that point towards a greater divine plan. They remind us that history is moving towards a climactic moment, orchestrated by a higher power. Jesus wants his followers to be watchful, to be prepared, not to be caught off guard. His message is timeless. It transcends the immediate context of his disciples and speaks to all generations. The call to vigilance and preparedness is as relevant today as it was then. It applies not only to the first-century disciples, but to all who follow him. The principles of watchfulness and readiness are universal, applicable to anyone who seeks to live a life of faith and devotion. We too should be attentive to the events happening around us. The world is filled with signs and occurrences that can guide us in our spiritual journey. By staying alert and discerning, we can navigate the complexities of life with wisdom and faith. We must be ready for the day when Jesus returns. This readiness is not just about anticipating a future event, but about living each day with purpose and commitment. It is about embodying the values and teachings of Jesus in our daily lives, ensuring that we are always prepared spiritually and morally for his return. In the Gospel of John, Jesus comforts his disciples with the promise of a place in his Father's house. He says, "In my Father's house are many rooms. If it were not so, I would have told you. I'm going there to prepare a place for you." This promise is not just about a future destination, but also about the assurance of his ongoing presence and preparation for those who believe. To truly grasp the depth of Jesus' promise, we must delve into the rich tapestry of cultural traditions that shaped his words and actions. One of the most illuminating aspects is the cultural context of first-century Jewish wedding customs, which were deeply symbolic and held profound significance. In those days, when a man and woman were betrothed, it was much more than a simple engagement. It was a binding agreement, a sacred covenant that marked the beginning of a lifelong commitment. After the betrothal, the groom would go away to prepare a place for his bride. This wasn't just any place, but a special dwelling, meticulously prepared to welcome his beloved. This place was usually at his father's house, symbolizing the joining of two families and the continuation of tradition and heritage. Only when everything was ready, when the preparations were complete and the home was perfect, would he return to bring her to their new home. This return was a moment of great joy and celebration. This tradition sheds light on Jesus' words, offering us a glimpse into the profound love and commitment he has for his followers. By understanding these customs, we can uncover a deeper layer of meaning in his promise, revealing the depth of his dedication and the assurance of his return. This cultural clue enriches our comprehension of the scriptures, making the ancient words come alive with new significance. The imagery of a groom preparing a place for his bride also speaks to the authority and responsibility of the groom. In Jewish culture, the groom's promise was a binding commitment, one that required trust and patience from the bride. Similarly, Jesus' promise is a testament to his authority and his unwavering commitment to his followers. For Christians, Jesus' promise of preparing a place is a source of hope and expectation. It encourages believers to live with a sense of purpose and anticipation, knowing that their future is secure in his hands. This promise invites us to trust in his preparation and to live each day with the assurance that he will return for those who are his.